Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Bob. And how's you doing? Well, winter's coming in, and hopefully won't be that bad where I am. I don't know what it's going to be where you are. Um, so pretty much, I feel like Europe, and the Nord Stream just blew up. Meaning, my state usually helps people of my poverty-strickenness to, you know, give me a little help with heating. And they the state has had the biggest tax boom, meaning they made a lot of money taxing because all the folks from LA, California, Florida, Texas, New York, and New Jersey are coming here because it's up in the mountains, and scared of the pandemic and scared of this and scared of that. And they come in and buy beautiful land and just put up, rip down all the trees and then put up fences, and buy a whole bunch of guns. And if they ever looked at statistics, around 36,000 people in America die from a handgun or a rifle or some firearm, right? And don't believe a word I say. Check it out, right? I have no idea what I'm saying, right? And this is just a cartoon. I'm not really real, This is fake news, It's don't believe a word I say, This show is just for entertainment's sake. Anyone who has, sensitivities about anything shouldn't watch this. If you want to think, well, you might want to watch this. But the last weeks I've had extremely low finances, and all the people who have bought large tracts of land and ripped it apart and are building this and building that, and I talked to them, and I had my car was falling apart, and I said, hey, you bought all that stuff from me. How about do you think you got some cash? I don't have $1, And then they go up and buy $10,000 worth of race cars, and then zip them around on the Forest Service road and they crash them. It's like, and that's kind of a metaphor for what the world is doing. I mean, we live in a land, a world, a planet of abundance. Everyone should be fine, safe, secure, And the rich people get very upset when I keep saying, I live like a millionaire on $400 a month, right? And one of the secrets to having some money in your pocket is don't spend any, right? I have no credit. I don't have a credit card. I don't borrow anything. And, that's what it is, And so you want to be happy? Don't borrow anything. Don't spend money you don't have, right? And I was so this homeless family on the side of the road, and they they really did look like the Beverly Hillbillies, and this one kid's playing the violin, and so the cute little girl and the other little boy are like shivering, and they're standing in the sun, and I basically stop and look at the show and go, that's pretty cool. And I have no money, so I had $1 and $5, and I said, I'll give him $5. So he just comes over and takes the money and says, and I go, oh. And I get out of my car, put my blinkers on, I get out of my car, and I walk over to the kid. He's got this violin, he's playing it, and it's really good. And then I look down, his amplifier has the tape deck in it, right? And the play button is, pressed down. And I just lean over and hit stop. Right? Now he was, they were playing country music, and he was pretending that he was, mountain boy. And no, and I kind of look at the side of the building on the other side, and there is a big, gigantic RV, like something that cost 200 grand, and and the old lady's in there, and the other kids are in there, and I just kind of go. And then he starts, because he didn't really talk to me, and then he starts talking to me, and he's definitely not a mountain boy, right? And so he's just trying to get over. And so I just kind of walk away and just kind of smile and Oh, yeah. So, that's another great metaphor. And, I just keep seeing these things, like what's going on in Ukraine. It's like, come on. When this all started, all the folk who are the scholastics and, who I knew, who are about, foreign service and, who were in the foreign service. Now they work for some company and make money. And as, trying to figure out how to make money out of all of this. And so they called me up and said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, it's obviously this is, somebody's scam. This is a definite play." And I would say that both, this is the war of the Vlads. Both, Vlad P and a stand-up comedian. They're both, their first names are both Vlads. It's the war of the Vlads, And JoJo, he's, kind of, he reads the script okay, but otherwise not so much. And his Sunny Boy thing is going to come out just before the election. I mean, it's just everything is a play, and people just go along with it like it was yesterday. So I've been around enough to see this happen before a few times. So, I'm just happy to be here. Right now, I'm putting it into space that things will stay warm. But it's been in the 40s and it's very moist. So last night it was okay, but I looked at the outside thermometer and it said 40, and it felt like it was 30. I looked on the inside thermometer, it said 50, and it's like So I'm wearing my onesie now. This is the time of onesie. And again, I've been in places that things have been a lot worse than this, so I can't complain, right? But I don't have the money to go out. I mean, I'm going to see my doctor. I'm going to go see this person, that person. I'm doing a whole bunch of things today. So I was near my elevator music office and thought I would just drop in and give you a howdy do, see if anybody wanted to talk about anything, any questions. You want to get a hold of me, the dudeway42@gmail, dudeway42@gmail. You want to, put something in my PayPal, that would duly be appreciated. Thank you. Dudeway42@gmail, dudeway42@gmail, right? So it's 7:35. When it hits, it'll never hit 777. I won't do that. There's one person there. What do you got to say for yourself, one person? You do anything interesting? What floats your boat? Let's say, oh, it's fish. If you say he was getting, no, my car, my bus I'm trying to sell. You want to buy my bus? You want to buy some memories from the 80s, back in the day when I was a Universal Road Warrior? I was all over Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, a little bit of California. I never felt comfy in California. I don't know why. But anyway, no bus for you. Okay. That's like sounds like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. No soup for you. No soup for you. So anyway, what else can I say? It's all good, as long as I have $1 in my pocket, it's okay. So those folks, who scammed the $5 out of my pocket, it was at least a good show. Meaning, if he didn't expect me to stop and get out, and go talk to the kid, and the kid, and I was watching him play, and I could see that he wasn't really playing. And I looked down and saw the tape deck that was in his amplifier, and the play button was pushed down. So and the music was really good, and so I kind of hit the stop button, and just start to laugh and walk away. And the guy was angry. And like I said, he's definitely not a mountain boy. But you're going to see more and more of that. And the internet is going to go by. I mean, I go back 2 years, when I started talking about the big splat, 2.5 years ago, 2 summers ago, right? And it was the winter before 2 summers ago. Let me see. I put something in. But you put something in. I mean, I got your table. I got that. Was there something else inside that box than the table? Didn't quite fit on my steering wheel either. But that's okay. I used it as a nice little altar. And the other like little mats were nice. I like that. Oh, you on PayPal? Oh, okay. So I'm going to take a look. Let's see. Yeah, there you are. Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting winter. It's going to be an interesting winter. But there have been many other interesting winters. I mean, this ain't the end of times. This ain't no big deal. It's a bunch of chumps, trying to, get over on the public. Right? They want to have a new world order, but it'll be same as the Who. Remember the Who, the band Who? Right? They had a great song, "Don't Get Fooled Again." The bottom of the world. Okay, I'll give that a shot. Okay, I can see that. Okay. So, basically, that's what I see this war thing. And man, there are wars, going on that are a lot worse, like Yemen, something like 500,000 people have died there in the last 10 years, and we keep giving Saudi Arabia weapons, and they keep, not helping us out. But it's not going to help. I mean, see, the real deal is they want everyone to stop using oil, at least right here, right now. And they also want to make as much money as they can in the process of doing it. So just look at the stock market, where all the oil companies, they're making more profits than they ever have in history. Right? Again, don't believe a word I say. I'm just a comic book character. I don't exist. I'm just here to make you giggle. Kind of like that. That's kind of the sound people make when they're on the gurney getting the needle. In that, I think the Constitution says, no mean and cruel punishment, but we have more people per capita in jail who've not been found guilty than anywhere in the world. There are people who have been in jail for years because they couldn't pay their bail. So that's kind of where it's at. But it's either going to be really rainy and we're going to have more floods than you can think of. I mean, I used to live in Australia, and I saw some serious floods there. I was walking across the desert with an old Aboriginal brother, and he was about 90, right? And he was like walking slow, and I had my big umbrella and my little bag, and we were doing a walkabout. He was showing me stuff. And it was the blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. And we were kind of in this valley, and there were mountains all around us. Right? And he kind of stops. He looks around, and he goes, See that mountaintop over there? Do you think you can run and get on top of it within 20 minutes? I mean, he never talked about time, but he goes, in 20 minutes? And I'm going, what? And what are you talking about? And he starts running. I said, what are you talking about? I'm like trotting by him. What is this, a test? Because he sometimes tested me. And he goes, no, I'm not talking. And he just, wow. He takes off like the road runner. And so I go, okay. So he's in his 90s and he's like way ahead of me. And I'm like, running. And he stops. He takes the stuff that I'm carrying. He carries it and then takes off and flies in ahead of me. I got nothing to carry and I'm running. We're going up the hill. I'm climbing up the hill. Get on top of the hill. And in front of me, it's a blue sky, right? Sun beating down on me. And I go, why did you make me do that? He goes, turn around. And I turn around, and right where we were standing, there is a wall of water about 20 foot high, and gigantic storm behind it. And I hear the lightning. And if I had, been saying, so why should I do this? Well, if I had been doing that instead of just, once he started running after him, I'd have been drowned. And that's kind of what's going on, right? And there was a great movie called The Last Wave. And, it's very biblical. In the Bible, they have, Noah's Ark. So that's where we're at, kids, And they knew all about this. They knew it about in 1891. They knew it about 1972. This is what's being advertised. This is a cover story of what's happening. Again, don't believe what I say. I don't know anything, I'm just a cartoon character, And there's Ed Man. One of my good friends has been in jail for over 2 years waiting for, yeah, exactly. Ed knows what he's talking about. Ed, are you feeling better? That's the last time I heard from you. You were a little verklempt. So I hope you're doing better. And like I said, we have more people in jail who haven't even gone to court, and they've been in for years, and they haven't even gone to court. In my one of the little counties in my neighborhood, they had a choice. Not really. Well, buddy, I'm going to send you some love right here, right now. I can get annoyed or upset. But why do we fall down? So we can get back up and do our best. That's all you got to do, Ed. Your best. You don't have to be perfect. Just do your best in the moment. If you keep doing that, you'll feel better and better. And that's kind of where I'm at with my life. I've been around 70 plus years, and I have to say that, and I've seen some of the worst. Meaning, I was a New York City housing authority police officer for 2 years. I got shot twice because I stepped in front of a guy who was about to shoot someone else, and if that bullet had hit that someone else, it would have been a gang war. Hundreds of people would have been dead. Everyone in that room cared for me, liked for me. I had known them. I'd never, I could have put them all in jail like many, many times. Never did. Negotiated that so it was peace, right? This guy was about to shoot it. He was kind of psychotic, so he didn't care. He was just going to kill this person. I stepped in front of the gun. Got shot. Right? Blew my palm off. Right? So this one, I actually have a palm. This one kind of goes in. Could have been worse. Could have got me in the heart because I stood in and I kind of grabbed the gun. And the bullet didn't go through it. That was the gases expelling from the thing that kind of took my palm off, right? And then my partner came in and summarily beat everyone to an inch of their existence. Uh, and and so I got out of that when I got out of the hospital. When all it needed was a big band-aid, but they said, "Oh, we have to keep it on." I said, I was a police officer. Blah blah blah. Anyway, when I got up and I went into my captain's office, and he said, "Listen, Al, you got to stop doing this." And why I did it is because my second wife, who I was the only reason I was living was my love for her. She died in my arms. So I was a little broken up about it. But, I cried. Then she came back to life, right? After 7 hours of being dead. And basically, I went out when she died, and I got on the hospital bed and cried. And they turned off the machines and took the pipes out and left me there because I wouldn't let go of her, right? So they would said, okay, good. They kind of turned the lights down and left and wait till I grieved, right? I cried. Got so exhausted. I went out. I went into state. I saw my master, and he took me to the ferryman, right? And there's my sweetheart about to step, on the ferry to go to across Jordan. And I went over there, and I got between him and Chiron and said, whoa. I got all the money you want. What, 35 cents, 2 quarters, whatever it is. Come on. And he looked at me like with this look. I said, no. I'll take her place. And so, my master came over and put his arm around my sweetheart, and I stepped on the boat, and pow, I was back in the hospital room, and people running around, and the nurse was like peeling me off my wife, and she said, "It's a miracle! You've been in here 7 hours." And she was dead. I kept coming in. She was dead. Now she's alive. And she took me over to this other room, put me in one of those churchy nursing chairs that you can sleep in, and basically she said, "You're sweating. You take those clothes off." So I did. She gave me some scrubs. She wrapped a big blanket around me, and I laid down. Boom! I was asleep, and I was back with my master, and he explained exactly what happened. Right? That the fact that I would be willing to give up my life for my love, for my sweetheart. That was it. Back on the road. And he said, but you have to realize you weren't meant to stay with her. And we kept telling you that, and you wouldn't listen. So we had to do something a little, high case. And that's why I left New York. Anyway, I ran this housing authority. We fought with the city for a number of years, and finally we said, okay, you're doing what we're supposed to do, so we'll just let you, be part of it. And so that's how I had to end up working for the New York City Housing Authority, right? So, and my partner, she was like, Xena the Warrior Princess on steroids. She was the first female to not only pass the Ranger School in the Army, but she was, the top of the class of 1,700. And the Rangers are way badasses than the Delta Force or the Green Berets or any of that. And so that was her, right? And all the other cops were scared of her. So when I first went there to work, my boss said, "I have your partner." She walked in, she looked at me, I looked at her, and we kind of went from there. We were the ultimate of good cop backup. I would walk in first, wearing a Hawaiian shirt and shorts and flip flops and a cowboy hat, and the only thing that really identified me as a police officer was I had a little photo ID bandolette around me, so cops wouldn't shoot me. And the New York City Housing Authority is a small group of cops, and the cops that are in your precinct, they get to know you pretty quickly. So yeah, everybody knew me, and I would play basketball, with them. And so I organized a basketball thing, Mad Madness that we did in September. So are the things that make life worthwhile. Even though, and in that period when my wife died, um, I lost 50 really close friends. I mean, really close, to drugs and gunshot wounds and AIDS. I lost a lot of friends to AIDS. Right? And I'd be the only guy who would be taking care of them. There was a point in my life where I was all I did was take care of guys who were dying of AIDS. Right? And people, aren't you scared? You might get it. I knew that you could only get it through blood, so I wasn't going there. So it was not a big deal. What we need is for people to be a little nicer to themselves and everyone around them. And no matter what happens to me, I basically do my best. Right? That's it. I'm not perfect. I never will be. People expect me to be perfect. They get upset when I'm not perfect. But such is life, right? So I don't get upset that they're getting upset. I don't care. So make a few calls, right? Bye-bye. Okay, here we go. Do-do-do-do. Oh. It's got to be. Tina Turner, what a girl. You ever see her in live performance? Tina is the bomb. It's meant to be. Doot, doot, doot. Why can't you be good to me? To me? Why can't you be? Why can't you be? To me? Why can't you be? Good to me. No, can't find that person I want to call. So, what can I say? Oh yeah, so I got shot once, and then got shot the second time. So when I got shot once, um, my boss said to me, "Listen, I know, the pressure can get hard, and you just push too hard. And I mean, but we don't want you to die, right?" And then he tells my partner for her to wait outside. So she does close the door. He goes, "But now you're doing great work. You know, I'm going to be captain because you have pushed, you and your partner have pushed the crime rate in your section lower than anyone else's. So I'm getting all the credit for it. I'm going to be captain." Right? Just my, and he goes, and I got to tell you, stop doing what you're doing, but you're doing a great job. So just do it. And if you do get shot and you die, we'll give you a inspector's uh, funeral, which is at the top of the heap, right? They have the bagpipes and all that. And I've never been suicidal, but I was pretty internally very sad, right? And the second time I got shot, that was it. My partner called up my friend at Cornell. I mean, my partner was more my partner because she was the only person I was spending any time with, and we, on the job or off the job, we were having a good time with each other. So, and she got to know a lot of people who she could be friends with that were as different as she was, and she felt comfortable with. Were my friends, right? This is when my friends were dying of AIDS, and so she called up my friend at Cornell and said, "Listen, we got to get him out of New York," and that was it. I came out of the hospital the second time, and my boss was waiting there, and he was like patting me on the box. He gave me this like diploma, like it's a good, you did a great job. And my Cornell friend was waiting for me, and they had gone into my abandoned building and taken all my stuff out and put it in their car. And she drove me up to Cornell, and she had just bought a farm, and she had this kind of eccentric computer geek farmer boy friend that was now her husband, and she was traveling all over the world, and so she needed somebody to keep an eye on him and to kind of, she goes, do your magic with the farm, because it was like wired in 1904, right? Had a meter, and that was about it. So yeah, I rewired everything, and that started my staying in Cornell. Now I'd still be there today, but it's just too cold. They have this thing called the lake effect, and it just was too cold. So I bailed and went to. My boss at Cornell got me a great gig at Asheville. Right. So next time I'm on, I'm going to bring photos of all of that. Right. Give a good picture of it. So it's going to be 33:33, and I'm going to go because I got to go see my doctor. And I love you guys. You stay well, be good, and I'll catch you on the flip flop.